first tour ever was a DIY tour that I really think need to credit our bandmate Nardo with helping us do that. But we had been playing locally in New York for a while, and then, we started to see like people listening online, like you can see where your listeners are coming from, and we started talking about potentially doing a tour, and it definitely in the beginning felt like an impossible task because we had like no team, and it just sort of seemed like something where it's hard to get started. But Nardo was really encouraging and helped us. He had been on tour before and organized it himself with his band
Yeah.
um, and like other friends. And so he kind of helped us just feel a lot of it is just like the kind of boldness to start and the courage to just email venues and say that you want to come there and like be organized about reaching out to artists that you look for. Like, we spent so much of our time during that period, like researching bands in different cities and finding these kind of like super awesome groups where we wanted to potentially go. And then we just reached out to people and tried to put bills together, but it was very
Yeah.
homegrown. Like,
I also
yeah.
don't think that we were like a super like hypey local band in New York. Like I think that in terms of scene, like our scene coming up was very just like our friends and stuff. Like I don't like nobody was like really in the industry. And like I think there is like kind of a different thing where like you're like coming up in like the industry of the New York scene. And I think that for like the first like 5 years of us playing, like we weren't really connected to the industry in any way. We were just like playing local shows and like a lot of people would come out and stuff, but it didn't feel like it was like the music scene. It felt like it was just its own thing. And we like, and then yeah, I think you like make connections with other bands that you like that are like outside of New York. And I think that I mean, in a lot of ways, I think it was like a blessing and a curse, because I was like, sometimes I was like, oh, I feel like isolated in like New York, like not in the scene or whatever. But then I was like, well, we have our own scene that's like such a lovely thing that like maybe isn't like defined as like what is happening in New York right now. But I think that helped us in the long run to like be able to like exist outside of New York and kind of in our own. I think we kind of operate within our own lane. And like after having operated in our own lane for a while and like with just like the community of friends that we had, we were able to like make connections in a more genuine way that didn't feel like trying to be a part of any type of scene or anything, but mostly just connecting with people whose music we liked and stuff.
That's such a lovely way of putting it, that it's like sometimes the scene that you think exists outside of you is not the scene that you're meant to be in. Sometimes it's about just being with your friends and getting good music out of it as well. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Um, what would you say? Okay, this is a bit of a fun question. Please run with it. If you, Daisy the Great, were to put together a festival, which you have, I'm talking, what is your lineup gonna be? What food are you gonna have there? Like, what drinks, what location, and
Mm.
who? So we can start with like dream lineup, and what are you
Oof.
gonna do?
What is the lineup? Can they be dead?
Yeah, they can so be done.
Because I'm having like a huge ghost party.
Yeah.
Um, oh, what's the lineup? I mean, I feel like Fiona Apple is on the lineup. I feel like for me like Lucinda Williams. None of these people are dead, but um Kelly, do you want to throw some?
I will bring I would also bring Fiona Apple, of course. I would bring Bowie out. I would bring out Queen. I would bring out Lady Gaga, Laura Marling. I would bring out
All of our
Dora
friends.
Jar. Yeah.
I
I
feel
would
like I want to list all our friends' bands, but I'm afraid of like
You can never list all your friends because
leaving them
you'll
out.
Yeah.
forget them. Let's just say all our friends.
Everyone that we know would be on the bill. Um, Let me think. I mean, it's so hard because it's like I mean, I feel like I mostly would want to like bring out people that like I mean, obviously like I want to bring out like my big influences and favorite people, but I also want to bring out people whose music I think is like so good that nobody is really fun to me. But I'm afraid to list my friends because I'm gonna leave someone out.
That's
That's so
okay. We can
fine.
always just apologize.
It's
It
a bonus. You'll see the bill when it drops.
Yeah.
What location would you go for if you were having a festival?
I'm thinking of when we played Firefly Festival, we played on like this treehouse stage and it was like really beautiful and in the woods and like this beautiful wooden stage and I feel like that was one of my favorite stages.
I feel
So
like the mountains would be cool too. Like
We'll do Red Rocks. Yeah.
we'll do Red Rock
Yeah.
or like Mount
Um,
Shasta,
something like beautiful. Yeah, where
the Pacific Northwest.
you can feel the music kind of like fill this space in a really in a way that feels very pure.
There's a creek, there's a pond, there's a beach.
Trees.
No, there's like a bunch of different cuisines and everybody and it's like a bunch of food trucks run by like the masters of each cuisine. There's like a man on a fish grill like grilling up like salmons.
Oh,
There's a bunch of frozen raspberries everywhere.
We did a festival one time where they had a bunch of like chips on a stick, like like
Yes.
fried chips on a
Have
stick.
you ever seen that? It's like a huge pointy stick and like
A swirl of a
individual.
potato.
Yeah, it's like a potato slice. Where
that
was that?
sounds
That
like
was
Iowa.
Wonder
Wonder Bus.
Wonder no the other one Wonder
Oh,
something, the one with Jason Mraz. Um
I don't remember.
yeah,
But
I think there would also be everything would be gluten free because I can't eat gluten.
or
oh,
there
you're
would be an
celiac
area, a
queen.
designated
Nope,
area.
everything is gluten free and it's really good gluten free stuff. Include everyone. I don't want the designated area.
And it's just cottage cheese, and it's just made out of cottage cheese.
They're like, this is the gluten free area and it's just cottage
Maybe there
cheese
can
and
be a
no one.
bread area instead of a gluten-free area.
There's
There could
one
be a
bread area, one
bread
bread zone,
zone.
fresh bread zone.
So, more than just your musical influences as well, you seem to have like such a strong sense of like artistic direction in like everything that you do. Specifically, your music videos and your album and EP covers are very cohesive. How do you come up with the ideas for such strong visuals? Specifically, I love your Time Machine music video so much.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Thank
It
you.
is
I mean,
phenomenal.
a lot of the imagery is like in the songs. So I think that what we do, I mean, I think we have like dreams about it. A lot of the time we'll be like, I had this like, vision and this is what it is. But I think that we go through the lyrics a lot. Like once we've written an album, we go through, or a song, we like go through the lyrics and we're like, okay, what are like the images in this that feel like important? Or like, what is this like when you just listen to it, what does it bring up? And yeah, time machine is like we were like, okay, what could the time machine be, you know? And it's in the lyrics. It's an old car. But it's like, yeah, I think that luckily our lyrics are pretty visual, so we start there and or we like build a visual metaphor kind of based on the root of the meaning of the song.
Mhm.
Um, and then like, yeah, one of us will be like, I had a dream, this is what it is. And then we're like, all right, let's go from there. And then we kind of like we try to start with like, especially like more recent videos and stuff, we're like, what is the big idea? And then like how can we do it like basically with the resources we have and like as little money as possible? And like how can we get a good idea across without just like needing tons and tons of money and set and whatever? Because we want to dream big and we want to like have a good idea, but I think sometimes the idea of like something being so expensive can actually be limiting, and it can be helpful to have the parameters of like if we have the resources of like, this much money, this much space, this much time, and like these creative things, like what can we do? And then we end up making a lot of stuff ourselves. Like for the last video, we like costumed everything. But for the last album, we costumed everything. We designed like we designed the masks for we like made the stone masks for the cover with our
Yeah.
friend, and like we painted them ourselves, and then like we made the masks in the Marys at the Carnival video, and then like kind of outsourced to our like really talented friends to like do stuff with us, and that just felt like it was like keeping our world like intact. I think that when you do it all yourself, like you can't really creatively be like, well, that's not me.
Yeah.
And made those and like put that on us, and it gets like covered in kind of like paper mache, I guess, or not paper mache, but like this these like plaster strips. Terrifying, but it was cool.
I
It was
love
so
that.
awesome.
I found it meditative.
Yeah, it was nice to be inside. One of the things we were before we did that, we were like, "Oh, I'm worried to like have it be on me because you have to stay still and like not move, obviously, and you can't like talk." And we were like, "Oh, I'm worried like it's gonna be claustrophobic." But then both of us were like, "I actually love to be in there."
Yeah, we were like, it's like a sensory
It's a
deprivation thing.
lot better than you would
Mine
think.
was
Yeah.
scary though. It got stuck to my nose ring. Do you
Oh
remember?
yeah.
And we had to be like, I was so scared. I was scared
Oh,
my nose was gonna rip.
do you guys collect physical media, sort of records, CDs, cassettes? And if so, what is like your prized possession of those?
Yeah, I've got a whole drawer of CDs, cassettes, and records.
Yeah.
I'm really like, I've been pretty off streaming. I've been listening to the radio a lot. Sorry, my voice went away. What happened? But I've got this like stack here of my like CDs and records and cassettes. My favorite cassette is my Liz Phair Exile in Guyville cassette. My favorite CD, well, I have a lot of favorite CDs, but I've been listening to the Cindy Lee CD. Um, it's really good, called Diamond Jubilee. And then record, my favorite record is a Patsy Cline record. I love it's the orange one, and I love her.
Oh, that's lovely.
I will say I collect records and not, I don't really have cassettes yet. Of my records, it's really hard to answer. I feel like one of my favorite records is Nick Drake. I
Hmm.
don't have like a, you know, end all favorite record ever, but I feel like the ones that I got when I first started collecting them are like dear to me, and I play my Nick Drake record probably most.
Uh,
Like I think that type of music like shines so well on vinyl.
Yeah, I should get that one on vinyl. I love that album.
so last question I've got is how do you decide that a song or an album or an EP, how do you decide like it's done, we're gonna release it now?
Hmm.
I guess you just run out of time. What
Well,
you
I
say what
think
you
with the last record, I felt like we were writing a lot and we had a lot happening. We were meeting all the time to write, and then it sort of started feeling like we have a collection of songs, like we had way more than we needed. And then you start looking at it thinking like, okay, we have a big batch, like definitely feel strongly about a lot of these songs. Like there is an album in here, but like with this last record, there was still something that was like feeling like it wasn't quite fully done yet. And then we wrote Sumi Alice, which is the last song on the record. And like at after doing Sumi Alice, I really did feel like, okay, done.
Yeah,
Like
because
I
we've
think there's
got
you
yeah,
have something that feels like, and I think the album follows this as well, but in the writing process, there's like something that feels kind of cathartic that you do feel like you reach the end of it.
like you get it all out. Like I think
Yeah.
that when because we were like we need one more thing that feels like
Yeah.
there's something stuck inside of us, and we needed to like sing really big
Yeah.
and like kind of get out this like nasty feeling, because the whole album is like a little bit of like a reckoning with yourself. And then but we were like at the like we were thinking about the end of it, and we were like, well, right now, like before we wrote Sumi Alice, we're like it's too like settled in a way that feels like it's not true. Where I think that there's like we wanted to like bring in the cyclical like nature of being a human, and that like even when you like work through everything and like think that you're like coming to a great realization about yourself, there's still something that can like exist that's like a little bit nasty inside you that you need to
Mhm.
admit. And I
It's
think
also
that's
like
what,
the record has so much about learning to be brave and like learning to accept like the unknown and accept fear. And in Sumi Alice, we also kind of like use the like we're like brave enough to
like
look
admit the
at
fear.
yourself rather than
Yeah.
like I'm brave enough to like do my adventure and like be a hero. It's like sometimes the brave thing is like something that feels bitter and like a little scary and like that's more difficult I would say than like I'm brave
Yeah.
enough to like go like do this thing that's I'm like conquering a fear, but like if the fear is something about you that feels really scary to admit or like something that feels dark or difficult, it's like that type of quiet bravery
Yeah.
sense. Like I feel like we needed to include that in talking about the themes of the record.
I felt that theme of kind of reckoning in like Lady Exhausted as well.
Yeah.
I I was when I remember listening to it for the first time, I was just like, yeah, why do I feel slightly stressed? And then I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I know why. They're
Well,
calling
Yeah.
that's
me
funny too,
out.
because Lady Exhausted was also we were considering that for the last song on the record, but we ended up having it be the last song on the first side of the record. But that was also, I think those Lady Exhausted is like the first catharsis, and then Alice is the last one.
Thank you so much
Of
for
course,
agreeing
Ellie.
with it.
Thank
It means
Thank
the
you.
you.
world. Please have a lovely rest of your days. I hope
You,
you
you
manage to
too.
get out and play in the